Hey guys, Jeff with the Float Tube Fishing Patreon. So, tubes, there's a lot of different float tubes out there. Which one do you need? And I'm not going to go over right now all over the different types of tubes out there, but I'm going to talk to you about two different types: sling seats versus stadium seating. Sling seats are a material that is strung between two pontoons. It's just a piece of material that you sit on. It pulls against the pontoons, keeps you in the water, keeps you sitting in the water. Stadium seating is where you have a floor in the boat that allows you to put a seat on top of that, or the seat is incorporated in between the two pontoons that you don't fall below the waterline. So between the two, sling seats keep you in the water, not waist high. Stadium seat keeps you above the water line, probably at knee high in most cases. And that seems to be more of the common float tube you see out there now, but they still do make the sling seats. Why would you want a sling seat? If you're in an area where you've got a lot of wind, okay, I think having a sling seat style float tube is a good idea because it keeps you deeper in the water, a little less subjected to the wind, gives you more drag. You're pulling against that water. So that wind kicks up while you're still moving. You're not moving as fast as if you're in a stadium seating type of situation. Um, and some people just like that they're a little deeper in the water. It's just a personal preference. Now, on the other side, we have the stadium seating, which is personally what I prefer. Now, if there's wind, it can become kind of an issue because you are so high up out of the water, you become a sail. And you don't have a lot of drag in the water, slowing you down in some cases. However, where I fish, there's a lot of current. And so being out of the water gives less for the water to pull against. Years ago, or actually a few years ago, I actually got into what's called um, a flat form or the flat style boat, which is completely on top of the water. And I just basically had, my knees were above the water. And I remember at one point where three guys lined up were riding the current coming in, we're kicking at a decent pace, fishing off, stacked up the three of us. Well, I had decided to change something up. I stopped kicking. And it didn't take more than a couple of minutes when I turned around and I realized the two guys that are in the water deeper than I am are actually way behind me. Once I stopped kicking, the current didn't touch me hardly at all. So being that elevated out of the water actually is benefit when it comes to current. In the stadium seating, I think a lot of people prefer the idea that you are higher so that you have better visual acuity. You can see better of what's around you. Fly fishermen tend to like this, I think, a lot more because you have that room for your arms to move around and cast, and you can see better where you're casting to. When you're in that stadium seating, though, you're so low, you're a little more cumbersome with everything packed around you. Your arms kind of get a little tangled up with everything around you. However, let's talk about this. If it happens to be a pretty chilly day with decent water temperatures and you're up on top of your tube, you can be kind of cold because you're dealing with that temperature outside when maybe the water isn't as cold. And if you're submerged more, you're a little more protected from the environment outside. And I'd say vice versa on the other side. When the water's a little chillier, but it's warmer on the outside, you better be high. So when you're looking at two different types of tubes, being the sling seats versus the stadium seating, it really depends on the area you're in, what you prefer, what's going to work best for you as far as your needs, okay, and just your comfort. If you're asking me personally, I think the stadium seating is the way to go because you are higher, you can see more. It's a little more comfortable in my opinion. But there are definite reasons, especially in windy areas, I believe, that you'd want to be a little deeper in the water just to drag and slow things down. And sometimes just to keep you out of the elements above the water temperature or water line to keep you a little warmer in some cases or a little more comfortable. So there's a bunch of different types of float tubes, all kinds of different things we can discuss. For those that are new or just trying to decide what's going to work best for me, I just wanted to cover a quick topic on the two types, sling seats versus stadium seating. It's up to you. My suggestion always is this: if you know groups of people around you that are already float tubing, go down, talk with them, check their equipment out. A lot of times these guys are willing to say, hey, jump in and take it for a quick ride, see what you think. Try something out before you start pulling the trigger. It's much better when you have a good idea of what it is you need after actually testing them out. If you're in my area, Southern California, I have a couple of float tubes, and I'd love to actually put some people in those float tubes. So if you're in the area and you want to try something, let me know. We'll hook up some time where we can meet and give you an opportunity to try these boats out, whatever I have. Okay. This is Jeff, the Float Tube Fishing the Float Tube Fishing Patreon. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope to see you in the water.